Hello, my name is Bev, and for Brain Tumour Awareness Month I'm going to talk a little bit about my son Craig, who had a brain tumour, and our involvement with the Yorkshire Brain Tumour charity. When Craig was a little boy, he was full of life, had lots of energy. He was a very sensitive and loving child. He loved to play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters with his cousins. He liked to watch films with his grandma, especially things like The Goonies and Indiana Jones. He loved Disney movies and was lucky enough to go to Disney World in Florida a couple of times. When he got older, he liked to ice skate, loved reading, especially Harry Potter, and he especially liked video gaming. That was his favourite thing of all. Craig had a dark sense of humour, a type of humour that we both shared actually. He liked to watch Blackadder, and when things went wrong for him, he used to say, "I have a cunning plan," and it used to make him feel that he could get through things more easily. He was very loyal and very kind. He didn't like bullies, and he'd stand up to bullies and he'd stand up for people that were being bullied. He didn't like anyone facing any type of injustice. During his childhood, he caught infections really easily. He was always feeling cold, and he had a small stature. Even in his late 20s, we used to go into restaurants and they'd bring him the child menu, which was a source of amusement to him really. When he was 16, we took him to the doctors for a routine appointment, and they noticed how small he was and that he hadn't reached puberty, so they sent him for a scan. This revealed that he had a brain tumour, which was called a craniopharyngioma. It's a tumour on the pituitary gland, and it was probably there from birth and slow growing. So he had an operation through the back of his nose. This was done at Leeds General Infirmary and with a brilliant surgeon. They did tell us that it was a benign tumour. After around 12 months, unfortunately, it had grown back. So they did another operation, and then they gave him some radiotherapy. Due to it being on his pituitary gland, all his hormones, he hardly had any hormones that would work. So he had to have hormone replacement, growth hormone, thyroxine, hydrocortisone, and he had to have a medic alert bracelet in case of accidents. He was constantly at the hospital. He had to see the endocrine team. He had to have his eyes tested all the time, and he had several MRIs just to check that everything was okay. He was unwell quite a lot, but he managed to cope with it. He went to college and studied photography. He started a job at Cineworld, which he loved because he loved films. And by this time he had two younger sisters, Trudy and Beth, and he adored them. He eventually went to live at the seaside for a while and had a few adventures on his own and enjoyed his independence and freedom. When he came back to Bradford, he settled and with his partner Jess, and they had a flat together. But eventually he started getting headaches and blurred vision and pressure at the back of his nose, and he felt that something was wrong. So he went back to the hospital, and unfortunately it had grown back, had the tumour. And in the next 10 years he had another 7 operations, and 2 of those included craniotomies. So this rare benign tumour became aggressive and invasive. Craig asked the surgeon to do as much as he possibly could because he loved life and he really wanted to live. So they tried gamma knife surgery. This was a last resort really. But unfortunately the tumour grew back within months, and we were all totally devastated. but the surgeon said that there was nothing more that he could do. He'd run out of all options. And when I asked the surgeon how long did he have left, he said months instead of years, which was just, what do you do with that really? And all this was during the COVID pandemic, and it was just extra cruel. After a month or so, Craig lost his eyesight completely. His only outlet and his only fun then were his video games, and now he couldn't even do that. But through all that, he never lost his sense of humour. Unfortunately, on the 7th of September 2020, he passed away, aged 36, surrounded by his family and his partner Jess. At his funeral, he wanted us to play Always Look on the Bright Side of Life, Monty Python. I emailed the Yorkshire Brain Tumour charity about 6 months before Craig passed away, and we got a quick response by a phone call, and we were offered support and how to apply for a grant. We decided to do some family fundraising, and Craig's sister Beth did a sponsored head shave. Craig was really proud of her. After he'd passed away though, we decided to carry on doing the fundraising, and his other sister Trudy did a skydive, and other members of the family did sponsored walks, runs, work events, and even a concert. So there were a lot going on for a while with fundraising and everything. And then I found myself alone at home, just looking at Craig's photograph and thinking, why has this happened to us? And almost in disbelief, really. There were no more visits to the hospital, no more meals out with him, no more jokes and fun, no one that had my sense of humour. And I also felt that I had to be strong for other members of the family. But the Yorkshire Brain Tumour charity offered me some counselling, and I was a bit reluctant at first, but I went ahead and I found it really helpful. It was nice to talk to someone that was just there for me. I couldn't upset them. They didn't have any opinions on anything I said, and I found that they gave me confidence to go forward and do things for myself. So I then decided to go and volunteer to work at the Yorkshire Brain Tumour charity shop in Headingley. I was really nervous at first, but everyone was so kind and so friendly, and I noticed that they were very dedicated to what they were doing, and they were all working hard. What I couldn't believe though was that I found out that brain tumour treatments haven't changed much in the last 40 years. I found that unbelievable, and I just felt I wanted to raise more funds for research and to save lives against this awful, devastating disease. As for my Craig, he struggled for 20 years with pain, with memory problems, with depression, and financially too. He could be stubborn, and sometimes he could be infuriating, but he was very loving and he was very brave. He made us laugh, he made us cry, but mostly he made us laugh. I'm so proud to be his mum, and he'll always be with us wherever we are. Let's hope in the future there's a cure for brain tumours. Thank you for watching.